It's Jordan Figueredo here from CV San. You might recognize me as that funny or goofy guy that gives assemblies at your school every year, waves my hand a lot, sometimes including a funny song and a hat maybe. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully good. As we all work towards providing the best for our community, CV San recognizes that these are different times and that there are many unknowns for how school will be this year due to COVID-19. With that, the following CV San school programs will be suspended for the year: Green Ribbon, 4 hours field trips, blue and green bin check-ins, and waste audits. We are disappointed to suspend these programs. However, we are optimistic about working with schools on waste reduction in other ways. Starting with this refresher presentation right here to get you starting the school year right. So please listen carefully and do your best to practice the 4 R's everywhere you can and help us get to a world with zero waste. Thanks, and I hope to see you in person next year. Today we are going to learn about zero waste, the 4 R's, why they are so important for public and environmental health, and what you can do at school and at home. But first, who is CV San? At Castor Valley Sanitary District, CV San as we're known, we're responsible for 2 main things in Castor Valley. The first is wastewater collection, which means all that water we make dirty through sinks and showers and toilets in Castor Valley. At CV San, we make sure the water is collected underground through a system of pipes. CV San makes sure those pipes work well and that the water is transferred to and cleaned at the treatment plant before going back out into the San Francisco Bay. Now, zero waste. That's the department I work in. What does zero waste mean for CV San? It means we work with residents, schools, and businesses on all the ways we can practice the 4 R's of reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, and find our paths to zero waste. A big part of zero waste is collection of materials, since we're responsible for all those materials collected in gray garbage, green organics, and blue recycling carts, just like those on the screen. We work with Alameda County Industries, ACI, to make sure materials are collected in the right place and that we put less stuff in the garbage. Why do we want to do all of this? Why do we want to put less in the garbage and get to zero waste and garbage one day? Because our stuff just sits there in the Altamont landfill in Livermore in the ground forever. No one takes out the good stuff. There might be some paper, bottles and cans, clothing, shoes, toys, and other things of use in there. It's really sad. And that's why we practice the 4 R's together. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot help us reach for the goal of zero waste, which helps us protect our health and environment. Have you all seen our short animated characters movie? If you want to watch it, just search CV San on YouTube and it will come up. Please share this movie with your family and your siblings as well. In addition to landfills and garbage being a big sad waste, they increase climate change. Our climate is changing due to extra greenhouse gas emissions created by people, and over half of those extra greenhouse gas emissions come from our stuff when you factor in all the resources, energy, transportation, and work to get the things to us. The stuff we use and waste is creating those extra emissions, and it has a huge impact on climate change. We have a big problem, as you may know, where our climate and weather is becoming more and more unpredictable. We don't really know what's going to happen. For example, average temperatures are rising, and droughts or low water and horrible fires are becoming more intense and common. Storms are often stronger, or now superstorms. Floods are becoming more intense and more common, and the sea levels are rising. In the 4 R's, reduce is first because it's most important. Does anyone remember this character, Little Miss Reduce? So reduce means to use less of something, to reduce what might be left over. For example, take only what you can eat or share with someone else, and store food better at home so you can reduce waste. Reducing plastic use is really important too. There is a big problem with plastic ending up in waterways and the ocean. So please reduce your use of plastic bags and utensils and straws that can end up in the creeks and the ocean. You might recognize this slide since it comes from one of our truck signs that are on ACI collection trucks servicing Castor Valley carts and bins. I'm going to be showing a bunch of these cool images that capture important actions we can all take on the path to zero waste. After you've watched this, you can try to find these images on trucks each day. See how many you can spot around Castro Valley. And for reuse, this is our reuse superhero again. She teaches us that reuse, our second R, means to use something over and over again and again instead of throwing it away. She uses her reusable water bottle, bag, lunchbox, tools to repair things, and rechargeable batteries that you can use hundreds of times. How do you practice reuse? A big part of reuse is to ditch disposables. That means to use reusable bags, reusable jars and bottles, and other reusable containers instead of those containers you throw away after one use. So then there is recycle, and there are 4 different types of materials that our recycling superhero Blue likes to recycle. That's clean paper, plastic, metal, and glass. In addition to fighting climate change and global warming, recycling protects our natural resources, nature's gifts to us to help us live. So again, that's clean paper, plastic, metal, and glass. That's it. And don't forget that the first red circle on the top left, juice boxes and soy milk boxes, go in the recycling now. And the second red circle on the top right. It also helps us fight plastic pollution. Recycling bundled bags and plastic film is something we offer, and it's important to keep those items clean. Just make sure you bag your bags in plastic film in a larger bag, something the size of a soccer ball or larger. Then tie it up and put it in the recycling. One last thing on recycling, please empty and rinse your recyclables if you can before placing them in the bin. Recyclables can have some debris, maybe less than 10% of the container, but the less the better. The cleaner the recycling is, the better chance it has of being recycled. Fourth and last but not least of the 4 R's is rot. There are 3 types of materials that green likes to rot. That's food scraps, food soil paper, and plants. So really that's it. That's all that goes in the green bins. Food scraps, food soil paper, and plants. Will you put all of those things in the green bin wherever you go? Thank you. Don't forget that food soil paper, which can go in the compost organics, means a lot of the things you get when you bring takeout food home. Things like paper cups and plates, paper cartons and paper bags, and wooden spoons, forks, and chopsticks are compostable too. And one of the best things about organics and compost, it fights climate change because compost stores carbon in the ground. Compost is also beneficial for plants since it's like vitamins for the soil, helping the soil retain more water and filter out pollution. So after we practice reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, what's left over for garbage? Not much, right? Right? While there isn't much that goes in the garbage anymore, there are some things. Mixed materials such as pouches and chip bags, other things like glue sticks, markers, straws, wipes, styrofoam and plastic utensils, also gloves and masks. They all go to the garbage. And do we like garbage? No. Why don't we like garbage? Why do we want to reduce what's going to garbage and our landfill up there on the screen? Because our garbage just sits there wasting away forever. And because the stuff we use and waste is creating those extra emissions, and it has a huge impact on climate change. So how many signs did we see today? 6. Now your goal is to try and spot these around town. And when you do, feel free to take a picture and have your parents or family members send the picture on Facebook or Twitter to @CVSAN, @CVSAN, and we might send you a special reusable gift. Thank you for listening, and thank you for practicing the 4 R's and reducing waste and helping the planet everywhere you can. Only together can we have a world with zero waste.